tea for two at the painted veranda. The tea house sat at the very edge of the seaside cliffs, where the wind carried the perfume of salt and jasmine and the ocean breathed in long, steady sighs. Its wraparound veranda, painted in soft, weather-worn shades of blue and white, unfurled like the hem of an old summer dress. The boards creaked gently underfoot, not with age alone, but with memory. Footsteps of travelers, wanderers, lovers, and dreamers woven into its grain. Now it belonged to June, though she still felt as if she were stepping into someone else's dream each time she unlocked the door. She had inherited the tea house after her aunt's passing, and though grief tugged at her quietly, it was softened by the warmth of the place. The kettle always seemed eager to sing. The windows gathered the morning light like cupped hands. And the roses, the climbing, tumbling, sunset-colored roses curled over the railings, as if reaching to welcome her. Henry was there the first morning she arrived, as though he had always been part of the scenery. He stood among the rose bush, pruning shears in one hand, a soft humming in his throat that blended with the sea breeze. His posture was gentle, almost reverent, the way he angled toward the roses as though listening to them breathe. He was quiet, sun-bronzed, his hair the color of driftwood, and his eyes held the steady calm of someone who had learned to speak in silence. "You must be June," he said, his voice low and warm like the last sip of tea at dusk. She nodded. "And you?" "Henry," he gave a small smile. "I've been tending the garden for years." "Your aunt liked things to grow wild, but not too wild." June looked at the roses, a riot of soft pinks, deep reds, buttery yellows, all tangled together like an orchestra warming up. "Wild, yes, but shimmering with care." "They're beautiful," she murmured. Henry shrugged lightly, but the pink at the tips of his ears betrayed his pride. "They remember kindness." Days blurred gently into one another, like colors mixing in watercolor. June spent her mornings sweeping the veranda, repainting chipped railings, and learning the tea house's rhythms. Henry drifted in and out with the tide, pruning, watering, repairing a loose step, humming in that quiet way that made even chores feel like small acts of grace. Sometimes she'd find a mug of mint tea waiting on the veranda rail, steam spiraling into the wind. She never saw him place it there, but she always knew it was him. Sometimes she would offer him biscuits or a slice of honey cake, and he would accept with a nod and a small, soft, "Thank you," his lashes lowering as though gratitude embarrassed him. As summer stretched and the days ripened like peaches, they found an easy rhythm together. Painting the veranda became a shared ritual. Henry held the ladder steady while June brushed long strokes of sky blue paint across the beams. Their shoulders brushed more often than the wind could be blamed for, and each accidental touch sparked like static along June's skin. One afternoon, the sun hung low and lazy, spilling gold across the sea. They worked in comfortable quiet, the sea below whispering secrets against the cliffs, until June paused, frowning at a stubborn patch of old paint. Henry stepped closer, his fingers closing gently over her wrist. "Here," he said softly, guiding her hand with a tenderness that made her breath hitch. Their paint-stained fingers moved together, slow and deliberate, and June felt a warm flutter beneath her ribs, like a bird waking. When he stepped back, she realized her cheeks had warmed, though the breeze was cool. Later, she found a note tucked into Henry's toolbox. "Thank you for staying. The roses have missed laughter." Her heart tightened, and the sweet, aching way songs did when they found exactly the right place to land. Storm season came suddenly, as it often did by the coast. One night, waves pummeled the rocks with the fury of restless giants, and rain lashed the veranda in sheets of silver. June stayed late to secure the windows, her hair clinging damply to her neck. Just as thunder growled overhead, a knock sounded at the door. Henry stood there, soaked to the bone, clutching a bundle of tarps. "Thought you might need help," he said, but his voice carried something deeper, concern, maybe even fear, threaded beneath the words. Together, they fought the storm, securing shutters and salvaging flower pots threatened by the wind. Lightning split the clouds in brilliant veins of white, illuminating Henry's worried expression each time it flashed. June felt the storm roaring around them, the wind howling, but Henry's presence anchored her, steady, quiet, unshakable. When the final shutter was locked and their breaths came in misty bursts, they ducked back under the veranda roof. Rain drummed above them like frantic footsteps. June wrapped her arms around herself, shivering. Without a word, Henry removed his jacket, dripping as it was, and placed it over her shoulders. "You'll get chilled," he murmured. "So will you," she said, breathless. He shook his head, droplets scattering like tiny diamonds. "I don't mind." The world felt impossibly close then, the storm raging at the edges, the veranda glowing dimly from the lantern behind them, and the space between them charged with something tender, trembling, waiting. June lifted her gaze, finding Henry already watching her, his expression raw in its softness. He reached out as though approaching a frightened bird, slowly, palms open, offering warmth without demand. When his fingers grazed hers, their hands fit together with the quiet certainty of two puzzle pieces that had waited too long to be reunited. Her breath caught. The storm roared louder, but Henry's voice sank beneath it, a whisper meant only for her. "I'm glad you're here, June." She squeezed his hand, the heat of him grounding her. "I'm glad you stayed." They stood on the painted veranda, two silhouettes framed by lantern glow and stormlight, their hands clasped, their hearts leaning toward one another like roses toward dawn. And when Henry finally drew her gently into his arms, June felt the world settle around them. The storm outside raged on, but the space between their hearts grew warm, steady, blooming like the roses that had always known. Some loves grow slowly, but sure as the tide, they always find their way toward the light.